All right, we are working on Jimmy Stewart's Racing P-51C. This airplane is a mixture of a few airplanes reassembled, rebuilt, put together by its current owner. He wanted all the texture taken out, so that's what you're seeing here. This is 3000 grit. I opted for my Rotary and a foam pad because there are scratches in here that are deeper than 3000 grit that this is taking out. I don't care about the haze, I don't care about the holograms. We'll finish that out with a different pad. This is not single stage paint. It's base clear and it's old school 2K. So yes, it is an airplane, but we can treat it similarly to a car. We just have to be mindful of where the rivets are, the panel screws are, and the panel gaps are so that we don't burn them, leave them full of compound that we can't get out, or completely destroy our pad off of this screw. So let's get into it. The two products that I'm using right now is my Rupes Rotary and then the Rupes Blue Foam. This thing cuts incredibly. And then we're using ScratchWerkes Pro Shine. One of the main talking points or takeaways from this video I want you guys to have or take is how versatile Pro Shine is. We're gonna use it with the Rotary and we're gonna use it with the DA, meaning we're gonna use it to cut all of this out and then we're gonna use it to refine and finish and bring that out to the museum quality that this airplane deserves. 5 drops, 4 drops, 3 drops, depending on how big of the panel you're gonna work. Instead of just doing a little bit, I am gonna work a lot because I want to spread this heat out. Remember, this is aluminum. We got one set of rivets right here, and I'm not gonna go down past this panel gap. So a lot of guys will spread it across the panel, and then you can either eat into it and then work back and forth, or what I'm gonna do, because this Rupes is so smooth, I'm just gonna dab it across like a DA. Put your cable across. Pro tip, always put the cable across the opposite shoulder of where the cable's coming from. It'll never fall off. Okay, if you do this and you don't know how to use a Rotary and you're just practicing on, you know, a hood or whatever and not some multi-million-dollar aircraft, put your pad on and lean it back and then go and pick everything up. Otherwise, it's gonna sling all over the place, okay? I'm just gonna get into it and then we can discuss it later. This has a variable speed trigger on it, so I'm running probably 600 RPM to just spread out these abrasives. And then we'll go full speed. I have it on 1200 RPM. And we're gonna go pretty slow. You can talk to a lot of Rotary guys. They like to work their pad flat, which I will do it in some sections. But on these rivets, they are below the surface of the main panel, so I like to run the edge just to get it down in there and make sure we're removing any stretching. Again here, make sure you're running off the edge of the panel. You don't want to be running into the edge or you're going to risk pulling paint. And with expensive paint jobs like this, we do not want to have to pull panels off and send it back. Good steady speed across the panel. You'll hear it popping. Don't worry about that. Get back into it. Last final shine. Speed it up a little bit to reduce some of that haze. Yes, we're using foam, but it is a direct driven polisher. So we are going to have holograms. I don't have my towel. All right, so wiping polish residue, compound residue off can be as simple as just using a towel to clean it. Most of the time you get away with it. However, when you're working on industrial equipment, airplanes, things with rivets, things with tight panel gaps, things with quick connecting screws, it tends to pull polish from your pad. So I like to take a panel prep. This one's mine, ScratchWerkes panel prep. Pretty simple. Shop ScratchWerkes.com, go get yourself a bottle. I'll take it, I'll miss the panel, and then I'll take my towel and I'll just rub it in. Make sure I hit those rivet dimples. Make sure I hit these quick release screws. Hit my edges. And what this is doing is pulling and melting the oils down for me while they're still wet, instead of continuing on polishing and now I've got hardened compound and chemicals, I gotta either use a lot more panel prep or a dissolver or some all-purpose cleaner and risk hazing and scratching the panel again. This avoids all that. Now I can just get into my final step of finishing and then we'll coat it. So now that we got the 3000 cut out of it and whatever scratches are underneath it, inspect your lights, look through the haze. So the next step with this panel would be to pick up the dual action polisher. If you're confident enough, you can do it with a rotary. Because this is 2K, because it's a museum piece, I am gonna grab my dual action and get after it. So let me get that set up and we'll come back. All right, so as you can see here, that rotary left some haze and holograms behind, mainly holograms. But those lights just aren't quite clear enough. So that's the next step, is we'll get in there and take those holograms and those streaks out of the paint, and then we'll be able to zoom right in on the LEDs for the ceiling. All right guys, so the next step, we're gonna pull our dual action out. I'm using Rupes yellow foam. 2K loves yellow foam. You can use orange too, but we just have yellow on hand. So one thing is you wanna keep your pad clean. Whether you have a Tornador, which we have, is just on the other side of the airplane. But I'm gonna rely on my brush. So I crank mine up to speed 6. I don't put any primer. I don't put any polish prep on it. Nothing. I want dry compound to come out of this pad. So I'm gonna go away from the aircraft because we've already cleaned it. We're gonna leave this spot dusty so we can ceramic coat that area. That's a whole nother story, but pretty simple. And now your pad's clean. Another trick that I did, and you're probably not gonna be able to see it from here, but I cut this lining out to reduce and remove all friction from the backing plate. So now this thing just spins freely. There is a washer mod. You can just put a washer in there to separate the backing plate further away. I prefer this method. Puts less strain back and forth on the motor head, and good to go. All right, now that we got a clean pad, it's time to get to work. So I'm gonna drop it down to, what's speed 4? 4,400 RPM. Run speed 3, speed 4. It all depends on the substrate you're working with, whether it's steel or aluminum. Now this is the fine polishing techniques, okay? So we're gonna grab Pro Shine again, and this is gonna be enough to pull that those fine scratches out that the rotary always leaves behind. So I'm gonna do 4 drops. Again, pop your cable over, and speed 4. So this is a diminishing abrasive polish. That's why it works so well to cut this 3000 out and to cut the scratches out below it. Got in, it worked really well, and then it polished out well. However, the rotaries, they just leave holograms out. So now we're gonna use those abrasives to pull out that hologram hash, and then once those abrasives are gone, it's gonna go into straight polishing, glossing up, and adding reflection. We're running at speed setting 4 for a few passes. Careful with your edge work. And then I'm going to crank it up to 6. Let's juice it up again. See, now watch how long this spins. It's still going. That's how I like my DAs. You guys know next step. Panel prep. It's not so bad on the polishing side because you really break that polish down. But it's just a good surety and peace of mind. And when you get such a large amount, 16 ounces goes a long way. You might as well use it. All right, Harrison, zoom in on that. Can you see my face? If not, I'll get out of the way. Take a look at the ceiling. And pan back out, if you will. So now we'll do that through the rest of the engine cowling. As you can see, I've got most of it done already. We just got a little bit left. And then if you want to pan over, we're going to work on the leading edge of the wings, removing scratches. From this rivet line forward, I got to finish from this rivet line to you. I did yesterday. It's a little dusty, but we're going to get all the scratches out of it. It got a light polish after it got painted, but it's been touched since then, so we're really going to go clean it up. Head's dirty. All right, let's show you guys how all the pros do it. Wow. Wasn't that amazing? Back to yellow pad. Same pro shine polish. So if you remember, I skipped that panel gap to hit this spot to clean up again, so I'm just gonna dab a little bit up there to remind myself. That stuff just evaporates right out the panel. Love it, love it, love it. Get in there and take a look how crispy that American flag is. Lopez Hope. You can read it all. with the rotary pass. We're gonna grab our DA. Give it. All right, so same product, different machine, different pad.
Do the thing and should go there, wrap it stuff. These dudes know the word on.
All right, now I still see a few in there, so I'm gonna add just one drop onto my pad, spread it out.
Which pad?
The yellow pad and the DA. Same step, I'm just gonna go back into it with a little less product. Slow the RPMs down a little bit. Let the pad clean up what's left over. Now, a lot of the times your problems are going to arise on your finishing steps on the more well-supported areas, such as the riveted areas and the leading edge here. So, as you can see, I'm going to hit this leading edge a little bit harder and then polish it back out, but that's the name of the game. All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you're interested in my products, my links will be in the bio, shopscratchworkes.com. That's it. You know, these airplanes are gorgeous, they're great, but they take a little finessing to get right, and especially when you don't really understand whether it's got base clear, if it's single stage, if it's 50 years old, 60 years old, 6 months old. You got to ask these kind of questions, and then you can get in to your test spots. But I'm going to go through and kind of touch up the little bits that I missed for making the video. You guys got a good demonstration of Pro Shine, a little technique videos on some rotary and DA work with this, but Pro Shine is one of my favorite products on the market right now, just for its versatility. I can swap between machines, pads, and it still gets the job done. So I'm gonna step out of the way so you guys can take a look at this P51 and just appreciate it for what it is. Thanks for watching. Now you guys got a chance to look up close and personal at Jimmy Stewart's racing P51C. Let's go turn around and take a look at some of the other aircraft that we worked on. We got this I think it was a 1945's Wildcat. It never saw any action, but we don't know how old this paint is. We got it all polished up. If you guys are interested in these aircraft and many more, be sure next spring to stop up at Dakota Territory Air Museum and come take a look. Thank you.